Good morning, good rainy morning. The cosmos is nourishing the earth. We might complain, but rain is a good thing. I bid you welcome to our shared spaces, to those on Zoom, to those in the room, as we've come to the time to begin our service together. I'm the Reverend Margaret O'Neill. I'm glad to be with you here today as your transition team reports on what they heard in the listening circles this winter and invites you into further conversations about the future. Today is the first Sunday of the month, which means family chapel. If you're here with kids up to and including 7th grade, I don't see any kids, but there might be some hiding, you're invited to the sanctuary at 10 a.m. for a special service created for our youngest people and led by our Director of Programs for Children and Youth, Elizabeth Valdez. Family chapel lasts about 20 minutes, after which children and youth will go to their usual groups and their adults can join the service here. If you are that person who reads ahead, you'll notice that we've made some changes in the sequence of the order of service today. We did that so the message from the transition team will come after the parents are back in this space to hear from the transition team, including Stephanie Saunders, who's speaking in the Children's Chapel today, as well as with the transition team in this service. No worries, all the parts are there, just rearranged a bit. Since I serve as part of your ministerial team, but I'm not often in your pulpit, I offer a few words of introduction just in case you've not yet encountered me. My ministry focuses on congregational transitions, and I'm just completing a 5-year developmental ministry at the UU Church in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. But don't worry, I didn't drive up from New Jersey this morning. I also own a home in Hyde Park, where I'm going to move to this summer. And in August, I'll begin a half-time contract ministry at the UU Congregation of the Catskills in Kingston, New York. I thought I was going to retire, but turns out I just can't pass up an opportunity. This year, I've had a contract with your Board of Trustees for 5% of my time to support your transition processes, working closely with Reverends Linda and Lynn, with your Board of Trustees, and your amazing transition team. We walk in changing times. Sometimes it feels like we walk in the shadow of the valley of death, or at least the valley of danger, risk, uncertainty. And so I gather us in this sacred time of community with words, some of my favorite words from Margaret Wheatley's book, Turning to One Another. There is no power greater than a community discovering what it cares about. Ask what's possible, not what's wrong. Keep asking. Notice what you care about. Assume that many others share your dream. Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. Talk to people you know. Talk to people you don't know. Talk to people you never talk to. Be intrigued by the differences you hear. Expect to be surprised. Treasure curiosity more than certainty. Treasure curiosity more than certainty. Invite in everybody who cares to work on what is possible. Acknowledge that everyone is an expert about something. Know that creative solutions come from new connections. Remember, you don't fear people whose story you know. Real listening always brings people closer together. Trust that meaningful conversations can change your world. Rely on human goodness. Stay together. And so ends reading and the call to community. And now we will light our chalice. So I invite you to join in the words of our chalice lighting. They're in your order of service, and they may be on the screen as well. I haven't gotten used to how we do things here. There they are, they're on the screen. Please join with me, welcoming all free seekers of truth and meaning. We gather to excite the human spirit, to inspire its growth and development, to respond morally and ethically to a troubled world, and to sustain a vital and nurturing religious community. Today, this congregation will hear from yourselves. Over the past 6 months, since late October 2023, your transition team, Irita London, John Newell, Betsy Miller, Leonco Ryman, Pascal Saint-Laurent, Stephanie Saunders, Peggy Sherman, and Todd Thomas, has created a very intentional process of listening to your ideas, your joy, your concerns, and your hopes for this historic congregation. I think of this as a process of listening to the songs of your heart, and today they will share with you what they heard. Excuse me. Allergies. Not COVID, pollen. Why are we listening for the future? Well, there are a couple of compelling reasons. The world is changing. Faith communities are called into change to respond to the changes in the world, even as we might ask, why do religious congregations exist? What's their role? What's their importance? Why do people create these complicated and challenging institutions? Why do we make commitments by joining them, sustaining them, leading them? Today, as your transition team shares their summary of what they heard from you, I invite you to reflect on this big question about how this congregation is called to change as you seek to become a sustainable faith institution in an evolving society. We know the world continues to change within us and around us, and we are invited into transformation as we respond to the currents of change. Transformation is named as one of the core values of our faith in the new Article 2 statement of UU values that's being voted on this spring. That section reads, transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. We know that the world is changing, and as our UU faith communities transform in response to a changing world, each congregation has the opportunity to become even more of who they most truly are, which of course leads us to ask, what is the true nature of this faith community? What do we celebrate, and what are our hopes as we are called to transform and grow? Unitarian Universalism is built on a heritage of heresy, turning away from established doctrines and external control to commit to our own free and responsible search for truth and meaning in a democratic system. The founding generations believed that churches as institutions are important for the community they provide for their members, important for the principles and values they promote, important for the work they do in the world. But the future of these institutions is not at all certain in this time. In recent years, we have seen that people, especially young people, are not affiliating with any religious institution. They're choosing instead to stake their claim on the identity of spiritual but not religious. Why would you make a commitment of time and energy to join a congregation? Why trust that a religious community can meaningfully support your life when you can just do it on your own? Rabbi David Wolpe wrote an essay on time.com a few years ago in which he addressed the importance of faith institutions as the way we live into our ideologies and actions in the world. As he said, spirituality is an emotion. Religion is an obligation. Spirituality soothes. Religion mobilizes. Spirituality is satisfied with itself. Religion is dissatisfied with the world. Religions create organizations, end quote. Through our organizations, we mobilize our energies to create change, moving ourselves collectively toward our goal of growing in compassion and creating justice. Unitarian Universalism is a unique and liberating way of faith in a world that longs for the community and the commitment we offer. And we must change to remain relevant to the world, even as the world changes around us. And so your transition team designed a listening process, the Transition Listening Circles, TLC, to better understand what you celebrate and value about this congregation, what you are concerned about, and what you hope for the future in this changing world. We begin with Leah and Co. Ryman reflecting on one of the leading themes in your responses, community. Leah.
Good morning. This is what we all said about community. What we celebrate, are concerned about, and hope for is to keep, improve, and grow the community that we have created and continue to enjoy. We want it to be loving, caring, kind, supportive, inclusive, inspiring, welcoming, flexible, adaptable, resilient, cohesive, committed, and exemplary. We want to celebrate more, create deeper ties, respect our covenant, and impact our surroundings. We hope to be more civil, more trusting, more helpful, more equitable, less individualist, less judgmental, more respectful. Sorry. Of course, it's allergies. Less judgmental, more respectful of our individualities and opinions, more joyful, more vibrant, more attractive to the outside world and community, and a community less anxious, in which we want to stay. Do we then mean a place where real humans with real lives, real stories, real hopes, and real dreams care about each other? Where they develop trust, and where trust unlocks collaboration, sharing, support, hope, safety, and much more. A place where we feel we belong, where we are loved and we are not lonely. A place that gives us a sense of home, of family, a sense of these are my peers, this is my tribe. Where as individuals, we are being accepted for who we really are and given at the same time a sense of shared identity that goes beyond individual relationships. Do we mean a place that turns strangers into trusted peers because we share the same identity, express our interests, ambitions, and goals through the people we spend time with, and therefore our community becomes part of us? And finally, a place where we are free to write our own story, where we are free to find the community that best suits us, allowing us to participate in the creation of narratives that enables others to be free? Yes, we do. As one of us said, I like to be in Shining Hall or some other UU function, and I feel warm and fuzzy. I enjoy hanging and looking at the group and thinking, this is my beloved community. I appreciate the people, proud of being a UU and what we do. I used to joke that anytime they show some kind of demonstration on the news about social justice action, abortion, housing, etc., I can look and always see that there is a UU in the picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. And now Irita London speaks of the diversity you seek in your community. Irita.
Good morning. One common theme that came through the experience that I was fortunate to have with the transitional team is that diversity encompasses all aspects of human differences, not limited just to race, gender, ethnicity, age, religion, physical and mental ability, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic status. Albany UU should aim to enhance the visibility and representation of all diverse groups. This involves offering programs led by individuals who embody these diverse groups. Collaboration with Albany UU committees, members, and clergies. It lists collaboration as being crucial to ensure trauma-informed representation in diversity, inclusion, and equity incentives. The goal is to create a welcoming environment that celebrates diversity and fosters understanding and respect for all. Now to take it down to the younger generation, which I was fortunate enough to have experiences with. The younger generation, also known as Gen Z, since I'm of the older generation, we always have to compartmentalize everything, which I'm trying to get out of, also discussed and reflected on this theme. They envision diversity as an age-inclusive community, breaking barriers and promoting intergenerational understanding. They suggest modernizing our worship by incorporating their voices and ideas. As one Gen Zer said, we don't always have to follow a script. Services should reflect diversity, blending music, teachings, and social media that resonates with everyone. We should reach out to our surrounding community and have more opportunities to take active roles in diversity at Albany UU and in other areas that our congregation strives with social justice. They suggested modernizing and getting the word out to the congregation about their diversity concerns and everything that affects Gen Zers at this time should be a priority. So thank you.
Thank you, Irita, for offering those crucial understandings and the words that you all heard. And now Peggy Sherman reflects on what you said about social justice. Peggy.
Many of you told us that you celebrate Albany UU's commitment to social justice. We are folks who are liberal and working for positive social change in the world, a progressive congregation with a commitment to social justice, and we take on tough issues and don't shy away. Our commitment to social justice is part of our identity, woven in with our UU values as well as our hopes for the future of this congregation. As one person shared, I hope Albany UU will be a vibrant congregation, living out our UU principles, especially the 8th, and engaging with the neighborhood and beyond. So we celebrate our volunteer and financial support of Sheridan Prep, the Saturday anti-racism vigils in Troy and Delmar, the monthly community breakfast, the Pride Parade, the crop walk, the work of our Green Sanctuary team, our postcard writing to get out the vote, and our advocacy at the state capitol for important legislation such as medical aid in dying. Looking back, we're proud of this congregation's support for marriage equality, our work on Habitat for Humanity houses, and our support for an Iraqi family. And social justice work is one way that we forge deeper relations in smaller groups, building our Albany UU community. One member commented, "I really appreciate that there is a core of people who continue to work on social justice actions and bring things to the group, and there will always be some number of people willing to join." Another shared, "The Troy Vigil allowed me to meet and interact with people from Albany UU I didn't know or didn't interact much with. What I love is that there could be a long and slow growth in friendship with people at Albany UU." A call to justice is one of the elements that we value in our Sunday services. One member said that Albany UU calls us to be better by its existence, by the call from the pulpit. We hear messages that call us to issues bigger than ourselves. Another commented, "I long understood that the job of a minister was to comfort the afflicted and also to afflict the comfortable. I don't want to lose the hard edge of combating some of the troubles and evils of this world." But others feel overwhelmed by politics, war, and the state of the world, and hope for celebration and joy in our services focusing on social justice. One told us bluntly, "The congregation is too damn serious. Lighten up." Can we do more? Many of you hope for more opportunities for engagement in social justice and better connections with our community. More volunteering in schools, community breakfasts, helping Albany families in poverty, social action opportunities for families and youth, interfaith projects, becoming a vital force at the state capitol, using the arts for social justice, and even more focus on the election. Several cited our good intentions, but felt we need to spend more time living our values than discussing them. One commented, "We talk with great fervor, but do not make much progress." Other suggestions were to know our neighbors better, so we know how to help meet their needs, and partner with organizations that are BIPOC-led in the community. And some of us worry about personal safety in the neighborhood, especially at night. But several reflected that more visibility in the community will encourage people to come join us. As one participant summed it up, "My hope is that we somehow figure out how to show the communities we are in exactly who we are. We are great people trying to do things to change our city and our world."
Thank you, Peggy, for that clear vision of the justice work to which this congregation is called. And now Stephanie Saunders, back from Children's Chapel, tells us what the transition team heard from you about ministry.
Thank you. When it comes to ministry, there is a strong message among Albany UU members and friends that we offer a supportive community while people search for truth and meaning, that we nourish both hearts and heads in spirituality and activism, that we strengthen our opportunities to learn from one another, to grow personally and collectively across our lifespans and different spiritual paths. Many people mentioned the power of our music ministry, that they are thankful for Olga and the choir and all of the beautiful music we share. We also appreciate the programs for children and youth, including Elizabeth's work and that of our staff and volunteers. Thank you, Elizabeth. And several people mentioned how rewarding and meaningful they found their time teaching and volunteering in youth programs. People appreciate the rituals, especially for the coming of age and our flower and water services. There was gratitude for the meditation group and the in-service meditations, thinking that we gain from those experiences collectively. We long for continued ministry that inspires and connects us. We would like a minister that provides quality pastoral care and strong, vibrant sermons that both connect us to each other and humanity and challenge us as a congregation. We are worried about finding the right ministerial fit and being able to maintain our diversity of spiritual values without being too secular or too religious. There's a tenuous balance there, which folks acknowledge is difficult to maintain. Some people question whether we are asking too much, but then again, there have been multiple jokes about wanting our next minister to be like the Dalai Lama or another sage leader. So, our hopes are as high as our expectations here. So, there were suggestions about improving our services. So some of those included having more youth voices and activities for Sunday service, also offering more variety in the structure of our worship on Sunday. And I'm realizing just how these themes are throughout all of the other presentations we've done, these little blurbs. And then offering more active service opportunities, that was there too earlier, and just more opportunities for fellowship and small group ministry. So suggestions there included spiritual exploration through programs like Wellspring and structured discussion groups. So we would like to spread the word of our liberal and democratic faith, to collectively acknowledge that Unitarian Universalism has a much needed role in our current times, and just how wonderful it would be to see Albany UU as a beacon of justice and compassion here in the Capital Region.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, the messages do intersect, and they strengthen each other. What you say about community matches what you say about ministry, matches what you say about diversity, and these are strong messages that the transition team heard. And now a closing note from Betsy Miller as she summarizes and describes what's coming next. Betsy.
We, the transition team, are excited by the widespread participation from members and friends in the transition listening circles. The almost universal response to the circles was, "This was a great process. We loved getting to know each other. And we want more of these opportunities." This clearly demonstrated that we, as a congregation, are committed to this community and want to make it the best it can be. As you just heard in the service, community, diversity, ministry, and social justice were major themes of the TLCs. This service represents the first part of our feedback on the results of the circles. There were things that we couldn't include in in this service. Over the summer, the transition team will issue a more complete written report on the process. But it's important that this is just a step in this process. We will continue our work in the fall, working closely with the new interim minister, our lay leadership, and the congregation to provide opportunities for everyone to dive deeper into the topics raised in the circles. These topics include our hopes and dreams, but also our concerns. Our expectations for this process are as follows. First, we want to provide more ways to get to know each other and what we are thinking about our congregation. Second, we want to provide concrete ways to continue to build a safe, loving, active, diverse community we envision. Through the end of this church year and into the summer, this is where it comes back to you. Please continue to reflect on these issues when you gather with fellow members of Albany UU. And take the opportunity to continue the discussion. Please stop by after the service at the back of Community Hall if you have any feedback or questions. And talk to any of the transition team members. We'll have these transition team buttons on. Some of us will, I read.
All right, transition team members, raise your hand.
And in the future, feel free to contact any of us with your comments. Again, thank you for your commitment.
All right, let's do that again for the transition team. How many of you participated either in the October workshop or in a transition listening circle? All right, let's have another round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much, transition team members, for your wise and capable leadership in the listening process. This UU congregation is part of creating something new in the world, an institution that serves its members and the world, centered in love to inspire and power the passion with which we live into and embody our values. And so in our transformation, may we transform the world toward more peace, justice, and wholeness. So may it be. In these times of transition and uncertainty, may we open our hearts and minds to the abundant possibilities for this congregation and for the world. In these days, may our separate fires kindle one flame, a flame to ignite the bright spark of hope, a flame to shine a light on the gifts within and among us, and always, always a flame to support and sustain this vital and nurturing religious community. So may it be. Amen, and blessed be. Please be seated. Please join me in the chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And in case you noticed me checking my phone, there's a thing about ministry that doesn't stop, so in Cherry Hill in New Jersey. Apparently, they had a major power outage and they didn't know where the router was. So they were asking me.
And now we invite our coffee hour connection team.
Next time I'll read the order of service. So, hi, I'm Sharon Babila and Barb Manning. We co-chair the Congregational Life Team. And I was looking at our mission and our statement of purpose that we wrote this year, and really it comes down to we're responsible for developing and deepening connections for everyone who comes in our door. Not too big, not too big, but worth it. So we have, under our big umbrella, welcoming, getting to know you, circle dinners, family circle dinners, community potlucks, any social event. Also working on communications with everybody else in the congregation and how to make that better and more clear for people to know, like, what's going on here? So one of the things that I'm really involved with is social events. I love it. So we did a lot of hard work this year. There's been bumps in the road, there's been joys, there's been all kinds of ups and downs, but I think we should celebrate. So we're having an end of the year party our team is helping to put on June 1st here in Community Hall. Those of you may have remembered our annual dinners we used to do years ago. Bob Franklin has written a skit called Zoom is Busting Out All Over. The subtitle of it is The Blossom Bash, hence the flowered shirt. And we also have another song that we're going to be doing. It's just going to be a fun evening of light food, desserts, music, dancing, laughter. Please come and we can celebrate together what we've done this year. And there'll be a sign-up sheet in Channing Hall. Pat Bailey's going to be manning the table. You can sign up then. Thank you.
Part of the Congregational Life Team's focus is on membership, which I've been involved for more years than I'd care to admit. We are working on new ways to be more welcoming and inclusive to visitors and find better ways to help newcomers feel they are part of our community. Each of you can help with this by talking to newcomers. It's so important to make people feel welcomed. And it's not just the responsibility of a few people. Everybody's responsibility is to welcome new people. We are also reworking our path to membership and hope to present a Getting to Know You program for people to learn about Unitarian Universalism and Albany UU. Look for this in the fall. This period of transition is an exciting time to try new ways of doing things at Albany UU. We hope that some of you will want to join us in this effort. You can contact me or Sharon Babila. Thanks.
Join us in coffee hour.
Thank you.
It got missed. There's a community breakfast this next Saturday. It got missed.
Okay, a community breakfast on Saturday. Carol Butt for more information. Thank you, Barb and Sharon, for all your work and that of your team. So now, if you're on Zoom, we hope you will join a breakout room for conversation and fellowship by clicking to accept the invitation that appears on your screen. And those here in Community Hall are invited to join in coffee hour in Channing. We're glad you joined us today. This concludes our service.